Good evening, everybody. It is 7 o'clock on Monday, March 17th, and we will call this meeting of the Sault Ste. Marie City Commission to order. Could we have a roll call, please?
Mayor Gary,
Here.
Commissioner Bauer,
Here.
Commissioner Baspis-Rath,
Here.
Commissioner Habusta, Commissioner Marble,
Here.
Commissioner Rubenstein,
Here.
Commissioner Talentino.
Here. We'd need a motion to excuse Commissioner Habusta, who's out of town with the Lakers.
So moved.
Support.
Moved and supported to excuse Commissioner Habusta. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? He is excused. If everybody could please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you very much. Happy St. Patrick's Day. I see a lot of people with green in the audience, and then some without. Good catch, Chief. I just wanted to thank Mayor Pro Tem Bauer for filling in for me a couple weeks ago, and wanted to say that last week I had the opportunity to go to Washington, D.C. with the Michigan Municipal League to a National League of Cities conference, and it was not on our city taxpayers' dime. It was on the Michigan Municipal League. The league has 2025-26 legislative priorities to foster thriving communities, and there are a lot of things going on right now that could hurt local communities, and so they have a 2025 federal action agenda as well. We had meetings with our congressmen, with our senators, and I'm new to this game. I didn't know that our governor has an office with 4 people in Washington, D.C. as well, so we met with her staff and we met with some nonprofits. It was a really good opportunity. There were about 2,500 people there. Vice President was our opening speaker. So it is a very big group, and it's a well thought of group. There was one common theme, I think, between all parties, whether they're Republican, Democrat, or lobbyists. Nobody knows what is going on and what's next. So right now it's kind of a watch and wait, and there's a lot of speculating, but it's a different climate right now, as we can see in the news every day, and it doesn't matter which party you're with. There's just uncertainty at this point in time. We also have an opportunity, a few of us, to go to Michigan Municipal League's Capitol Conference tomorrow, and that's for 2 days in Lansing, and we have an opportunity to meet with our Michigan legislators, which really are closer connected to municipalities than federal legislators, although a lot of the money flows from the federal government to the state government. So we go with the same agenda. We go to talk about what we can do and what they can do for us as legislators, try to make sure that most of the decision-making in the state of Michigan stays local to our communities and does not end up in Lansing like a lot of the legislative agenda things happen. So all in all, good trip, and we look forward to the next couple of days, hoping that we can facilitate some change and some goodwill. We'll move on into item C, which is public comment. Is there anybody in the audience that would like to speak to any of our agenda items this evening? Seeing none, we'll move on into, whoops, I'm sorry. Yes? At the end of the meeting, we have public comment time. Yep, okay. So it's nothing we have on the agenda then, just want to make some comments? Perfect. So we'll move on into item D, which is the consent agenda. Deputy City Manager Robin Troyer.
Thank you, Mayor. Under the consent agenda, 1, approval of the City Commission meeting minutes of March 3rd, 2025. Item 2, appointment of Ashley Flickinger to the Downtown Development Authority. Item 3 is resignation of Craig Krauth from the Economic Development Corporation, Brownfield Redevelopment, and TIF 3. Item 4 is first reading of proposed modifications to the employee handbook. Item 5 is consideration of Traffic Control Order 25-01. Item 6 is consideration of a contract with State of Michigan for the annual purchase of road salt. Item 7 is consideration to apply for MDOT TED F grant for Phase 2 of Meridian Street. Item 8, consideration of purchase and budget amendment for air monitor test stand. And item 9 is approval of the consent agenda items as presented.
Thank you, Deputy City Manager. Would anybody like any of the items further explained or removed for individual consideration? Commissioner Boswell-Rath.
Thank you, Mayor. I would like number 5 to be removed for consideration.
All right, we can do that. Any others? Commissioner Rubenstein.
Can I just make a couple comments on item number 3?
Sure.
So really, I want to first off thank Craig Krauth for his time on the EDC board. I think he did a really good job continuing to move things forward with some of the plans that are happening there. And everyone can go, or I know up here has read his letter, but the public can go on and read his resignation letter. But I think it's important to point out from my seat, and what I notice is that we as a city can do a lot better job communicating in an effective manner. I think there were times where there was potential friction. In almost all circumstances, it seemed to stem from a lack of communication, a lack of communicating timelines, a lack of communicating when timelines change. And so I think we can do a lot better job of that, and I think it's going to make things a lot smoother going forward. And then to everyone, so the general public, everyone on the EDC board, and us up here, I think it's important to remember that we need to continue to assume positive intent. Everyone wants what is best for the city of Sault Ste. Marie, and one of the challenges when communication isn't necessarily there where it should be is people make up scenarios in their mind, and it can create even more challenges. So that's all I have to say there.
Okay, thank you, Commissioner. Anybody else? Kind of took the words out of my mouth, but I was just going to thank Craig Krauth for his service. He came onto the EDC board not knowing it was the association with 3 different boards, TIFA board, and he stepped in and he did a great job and became chair of the board and has a very steady hand and very competent individual, and I have a lot of respect for Craig, so we appreciate his service and certainly appreciate everybody who serves on every board and commission, City of Sault Ste. Marie. So, Commissioner Bauer.
So moved that we approve tonight's consent agenda other than item 5.
Support.
Moved and supported. Any questions or comments? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passed unanimously. So we'll move right now to item number 5, City Manager Chapman.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. First for commission consideration is the consideration of Traffic Control Order 25-01. Kind of the short of this is it's a traffic control order to install traffic stop signs at the corner of East 10th Avenue and 7th Street. Yeah, East 7th Street. We do have kind of a map. Bonnie, if you want to throw up my screen really quick. So this is kind of the way it currently is set up. This green line here is the controlling road. So that's controlling road is typically what most traffic kind of comes down. You set up your signs to keep the controlling road traffic flowing uninterrupted and stop everything else to the side. Kind of since JKL has developed out a little bit more, there's a good number of traffic that's coming down East 10th Avenue and rolling in this way. At one point, there was a crash here at the intersection, and there was a request that came in from Commissioner Boswell-Rath for us to take a look at it and see if we can't change some of these signs. So DPW and engineering took a look at the area, and this is kind of what we're proposing, and this is what the TCO accomplishes. So it kind of shifts the controlling road to being that East 10th Avenue one. A lot of traffic comes in through this way, keeps the flow of traffic going. and then install stop signs on 7th Street, right in this intersection here. So that's the TCO. Just a couple of things when we put this together. The construction of JCal and the flow of traffic that goes down 10th Avenue is kind of really what justifies the TCO the way it was. I know we've received some comments from some of the area residents about putting stop signs in another manner. We've kind of sent a communication out to you all in a previous newsletter or previous email. Stop signs aren't meant to be utilized as a speed control device under MUTC. The current traffic patterns doesn't warrant a four-way stop. We did review that. We do have some concerns. If we were to put stop signs here, the way traffic comes in, drops the kids off, comes back out that way. If you have stop signs kind of in this area, or stop in the flow of traffic on East 10th, you're gonna have kind of a lineup of cars kind of coming away. So this kind of keeps the flow of traffic in both directions along this particular stretch of road. And when we do these TCOs, just as an FYI, when we do these TCOs, we do look at things like traffic count, the traffic flow. Depending on the road, depending on the time of year, we'll go out with counters, kind of put them on the road. We'll take a traffic count, we'll figure out what the pattern is, and then utilizing the crash data that gets submitted to MSP every time there is a accident on the road. So this is kind of that area in a snapshot between 2018 and 2023. 2024 is still being uploaded, and obviously 2025 isn't on there yet, but this is the last 5 years from 2018 to 2023. Each pin is essentially a crash that happened along that intersect, or along this area there. So again, taking all these things into consideration, the TCO, as we propose, installs 2 traffic signs along 7th Street, and then keeps the flow of traffic open along 10th Avenue. So we would look for approval of the TCO as presented.
Commissioner Bastos-Strath.
First, I want to say thank you for listening to the residents and myself and putting something in place for that, because right now, as it stands with the 2 yields, because I live in that second house, you can see it on the graph, I see people run that yield, probably at least 10 to 15 cars a day run the yield, either coming from JKL or going down to JKL. I usually stop on 7th when I'm coming that way. I travel that often, just because I know that people are gonna run the yield. So I appreciate the city and engineering taking the time to make the change from the yields to the stops going down 7th. My only concern, and I know a few residents on that street, because we see the kids walking and the pedestrians walking, is the safety of the kids and the pedestrians that walk East 10th, because a lot of the kids use East 10th to go to school because it's a shorter route. When you come up Seymour, you take East 10th, and then the school is right there. And there isn't a sidewalk. It's just a dirt road with ditches on either side. So what I was hoping is that we could get a stop sign on the East 10th where the yields are to replace them with stop signs. I do understand that it's not used for speed control. It would slow the cars down because they do go very fast down the dirt road. And I do appreciate the yields taken off and the stop signs being put on. So at least there is some sort of traffic control stop going in one direction or the other. I was just kind of hoping that the yields would be replaced with stop signs for the pedestrian safety as well, because the kids walk down that road a lot. That's all.
Thanks, Commissioner. Anybody else? Commissioner Rubenstein.
Can you throw that map up again real quick?
Bonnie, you want to throw the map up, please?
Jody, can you kind of explain that again with?
Okay, so use a pointer.
So this is the way it currently is.
So right now, a lot of people will come from north, going down South Seymour. They'll turn down East 10th, and then they'll go all the way through to the back end of JKL, like down this way. So what happens is people will run the yield, and then there is a bus that has a bus route going down East Ninth. So it comes down East Ninth, and that's where it did get hit down there because someone ran the yield and the bus got hit. But if they put the stop signs on Seventh, which is great, at least it'll stop, you know, at least one side of the traffic will stop instead of the yield. But what I was hoping is that the yield could be switched to stop because, yeah, so
Okay.
just,
You're saying the stop signs on 10th instead of 7th?
yes.
Yeah, okay.
Oh, look, you can do
Oh,
that.
there we go.
Yeah, like that, so that, because the kids walk down this dirt road. Walk down the dirt road, to get to the school.
Oh, I see what you're saying, okay.
But then we'd still have the issue of the potential backup, correct?
You know, I don't know if there would, you know,
Is
I live there,
two,
but I'm not an engineer, so I have no idea if it would actually back up or not, but.
Brian, are two stop sides and then two yield sides a thing, or does that,
You mean,
like have one direction has two stop signs and the other one has two yields, or is that?
Not really.
Not re-
Not
okay.
really. Because again, it goes back to the controlling road. Which road is the controlling one? Which one gets the higher traffic flow?
East 10th,
And it's East 10th.
yes.
So under this proposal, you know, and again, yeah, it was with East 10th being the controlling road, when they do drop off the kids or pick them up in the afternoon, if they're going back down that East 10th, there could be a backup in either way direction. So typically with the controlling road, once you identify kind of that, once you identify the controlling road, you stop the cross traffic to keep that other one kind of going uninterrupted and smoother.
Which is a great idea if we had sidewalks for the kids to walk on, but we don't. And so you're gonna have two ways of traffic plus kids walking on either side of the road. It's a little scary, but I do appreciate that the yields are gonna get changed. It just, because the yields don't matter right now as it stands with a lot of the drivers, so.
Is there
They
a
go
way,
fast.
is there a way to do a temporary TCO to see if it does back up? Because when I drop my kids off at JKL, when I pull out, I go right or left depending on which way is
Do
backed
you
up.
come out the K1?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then I'll, if it's back up to the left, I'll go right and go down 10th, but it just kind of depends
Right.
which way is backed up.
I see more backed up coming down, whatever road that is, on the side of Bawading. I see that, but I mean, that's kind of school traffic. You know, middle school gets crazy too sometimes, but.
Commissioner Marvel has a question, so.
I just have a quick question. Could we maybe put a pedestrian crossing there somewhere so they're aware of like a flashing light,
I don't think it's necessarily crossing, right? They're walking
No,
parallel.
It's just they're walking.
walking?
Yeah,
They're walking
Okay.
the whole side of the road.
yeah.
Oh, gotcha.
And a lot
Okay.
of kids will, sorry, I've seen some kids where they'll walk in the ditches to stay
To
off the road
avoid
because
the
cars
road.
are, at pickup and drop-off times, cars are going both ways.
Both ways, yeah,
So,
okay.
but,
City engineer.
Plus we
Sashayed
don't
up,
have
so I
any-
think.
There's no sidewalks out there, so we can't lead them
Yeah.
to some place that we don't have any place for them to go. So temporary TCO is only for 3 months. So we could do it this way and then we can study it again. And if it's not doing what we wanted it to do, we can change it. The thing about this intersection, it doesn't have warrants to do a four-way. But we can put the yield or stop on either leg. But like Brian said, the way we did it, we went and looked and saw what the controlling road was, so that's how we set it up.
and I completely understand why you would put the stop signs on Seventh to keep the traffic flowing, but with the amount of pedestrians walking, that's, my main concern with, because now the traffic's gonna go really fast. But either way, I
hear
appreciate
ya.
you guys taking the time.
I was
Now-
I was thinking it, I wasn't gonna verbalize it.
Ask and you
That's
shall
another thought.
receive.
It is a gravel road.
It's actually really nice in the wintertime.
Any other questions or comments?
So I guess just to kind of reiterate what Engineer Boyle was saying, TCOs are just like ordinances. It can be changed at any point, just through the right process. So whether it be a temporary or the current methodology that we've proposed, let's say in 2 months, 3 months, 6 months, 8 years, something doesn't work out, just like this one was brought up, any of you or even the public could make a request for us to review it again, and we can propose something else at that time too, so.
Is there a motion to approve the traffic control order? Commissioner Bauer?
Yeah, I'll make that motion to approve traffic control order 2501 to place stop signs on East 7th Street and remove yield signs on East 10th Avenue. And let me also say that we go into this knowing that if it doesn't work out, we can always change it again.
Good point. Is there support?
Support.
It's been moved and supported. Any questions or comments? All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion passed unanimously. Thank you. Moving now into E, special orders of business. City Manager Chapman.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Up next for commission consideration is a first reading of a proposed ordinance to amend a certain aspect of the city's zoning ordinance to reduce the minimum width for parcels in the R2 district and the R2 district minimum lot width and area requirements to apply to one-family, two-family uses. This particular request is a citizen petition, Mrs. Joan Menard from 820 Seymour Street. She'd worked with Community Development Director Freeman to kind of get some ideas on paper. The attached ordinance is kind of what her ideas were for her particular situation. After reviewing the proposed ordinance, Director Freeman took it to the Plan Commission. Plan Commission voted to recommend to the commission not to take any action. Staff concurs with that recommendation to take no action. Kind of in the background, we are working on redoing a lot of our zoning ordinances. We have a grant through MISTA to have a contractor kind of go through them. We've made them aware, excuse me, gosh. We've made them aware of this particular case, but the way it is being proposed, staff and I don't necessarily feel like it's in the best interest from a zoning perspective. Director Freeman is here tonight. Why don't you come on up, Kelly, and just kind of give a little bit more commentary on this. Kelly did a lot of analysis on this in terms of the request. Ms. Menard is here with us as well if there's any questions for him, but I'll just kind of turn it over to Kelly and he can just kind of give a little bit more information.
Mayor and Commissioners. When Mrs. Menard approached me originally with her issue, she wanted to put a duplex, basically add a second unit in the attic of her home on Seymour Street. And although the zoning of the property is correct, it is too narrow and too small to meet the minimum requirements to have a duplex. She made a request to the Zoning Board of Appeals back in December. The board failed to come up with any motion either to deny or approve. That has led her to submit this language amendment to the zoning ordinance to change the rules that are preventing her from doing what she wants to do. As Manager Chapman mentioned, we're already underway with CIB planning on a kind of a comprehensive review of the zoning ordinance as it relates to housing. My feeling is that the numbers that we have in place here that are at issue for her do need to be adjusted downward. But I don't know that it would be so far as to green light her project because her project is taking place on a relatively small piece of property. Her parcel is only 35 feet wide and a little over 4,000 square feet in area, so relatively small for that second unit. I did take a look, and specifically attachment 4 in your packet is kind of a graphical representation of density. There's 2 graphs. The top graph is kind of the current density curve in the zoning ordinance, and then the second one would be with her changes implemented, and that would actually result in the R2 district having a greater density than our lowest multifamily district. So it kind of creates a bit of a hump in the curve there that you'd want from your lowest to the highest density district. So it would kind of knock the balance off of that. And then you have the whole argument of, the best way to make policy is taking an analysis, look at the whole picture, rather than making an adjustment based on one person's circumstances and getting them what they need. It's unfortunate, most certainly, but this change not only would affect her parcel, but 997 others in the city across the R2 and the RM zoning districts where duplexes are allowed. So I feel terrible for her situation, but I believe that we should wait until CIB planning finishes their work and see what they recommend relative to any changes in this area.
What's that time frame? Do you know?
Likely within the next 12 to 18 months.
All right, well, thank you very much. Anybody have any questions or comments for city manager or planning director? Commissioner Marble.
Director Freeman, is there any chance that I could set up a meeting with you that we could go over and discuss? I'm not very aware of zoning and what can happen and what can't happen with this. So before I would make any kind of a decision, I'd have to have a lot more information.
I imagine coordinated through the city manager's office, we'd be happy to make that accommodation.
Thank you.
Any other questions or comments? Commissioner Rubenstein.
Sorry. I can definitely, I can empathize here, but I think for me, what it comes down to is the amount of other properties that this would impact versus taking it on I think, probably in every case-by-case basis. You can empathize with what's going on, but given the amount of other properties this could potentially impact and other requests that could come from that, I understand the recommendation.
All right, Mrs. Menard, would you like to make any comments at all? If you could come to the, just because we're on TV, we're being recorded, so.
At the last meeting with the planning commissioner, they thought that the first meeting, they should have made a variance on my conditions. But they decided to go with the grant and they have a grant that's supposed to change the zoning of the ordinances and stuff like that. And I think that I should wait and see what happens. And if it happens to favor my conditions, then so be it. It must be not meant to be if that's the case. But I want you guys to really consider this, because the apartments in this town are like really low. I've heard complaints from college students who said they can't afford $1,000 a month for rent. And I don't know, I just think that it would benefit the whole town, because within a couple of years, because of the locks, there's going to be a lot more strain on the housing developments. Anyway, that's just how I feel.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. Certainly appreciate the situation you're in, and appreciate your willingness to work through the planning. Commissioner Bauer.
Just a quick question, because I do not recall what, in the minutes of the Zoning Board of Appeals meeting, because I don't even remember reading about that personally. What their rationale was behind denying this particular request.
Director Freeman, you got that?
I know some number of years ago, Commissioner Bauer, you served on the Zoning Board of Appeals. And since then, there's been an ordinance amendment to actually add some conditions for approval to ZBA variances, because based on state statute, it needs to be relative to some defect on the property, be it topography, terrain, there's a weird shape, it's real narrow, something unrelated to the owner's personal circumstances needs to be at play here. And the ZBA did not find that the physical characteristics of the property prevented it from being used for a zoned purpose, which a single family is a perfectly legitimate use in that district. So the
Okay,
people who
that-
were not in
Thank you
favor.
for the clarification on that.
Yes,
I
most
was
certainly.
unaware of the change since the time when I sat on the ZBA.
Thanks, Commissioner. Anybody else have any questions? All right, so the recommended action on this item as expressed by the city manager is take no action to move it forward, so. Unless anybody has a motion and support, otherwise we will move on to the next action. Thank you very much for coming, and I'm sure Mr. Freeman will keep you up to date on our progress with the consultants. Thank you. All right, we will move on into item G, which is business items. Number 1, City Manager Chapman.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Up next for commission consideration is a request to award a bid for Rotary Park Pavilion project. Staff has bid this out. They came back in under budget, which is phenomenal. So this particular item has 2 motions with it. Motion to award the bid to Cardinal Plumbing for the amount at $369 for that amount of money, with a bid alternate of $16,000 for a total bid of that much, and a motion to reduce the project budget by $100,000. Tonight with us too is Dr. Flickinger. He was one of the leads from the Rotary Club that helped put the fundraisers on, to help raise up the funds for the match for this particular project. So super excited to see this one moving forward. We'll get the construction going here spring-ish, whenever that decides to start, and should be done by the summer, or by the end of the summer. So 2 motions, motion to award the bid and a motion to reduce the project budget.
Thank you very much, City Manager, and again, thank you and kudos to Dr. Flickinger. Great project. Didn't know if you wanted to say any words or just keep her moving along, eh? Thank you for working to get it in under budget as well. Any Rotarians or former Rotarians or anybody that likes Rotary? Okay. Commissioner Rubenstein. I'm a former, but I can't make a motion.
Motion to award the bid to Cardinal Plumbing at $369,246 with the bid alternate of $16,099 for a total bid award of $385,345.
Support.
Moved and supported. Any questions or comments? All in favor of the motion signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Commissioner Rubenstein.
Motion to reduce the project budget by $100,000 to be returned to the general fund.
Support.
Been moved and supported. Any questions, comments? All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motions both passed unanimously. Thank you. Under G, business items, number 2, City Manager Chapman.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Up next for commission consideration is a request to award a bid for the transfer switch upgrades of the wastewater treatment plant to J Rank Electric, Inc. This item was bid out. J Rank is the lowest, most responsible bid for this particular project. The transfer switch at the water treatment plant is essentially the item that controls the generator should there be a power outage. It's the thing that turns everything back on so we can ensure that we have water going throughout the system. So it is a requirement to have that backup generator fully functioning at the water treatment plant. And again, this project, we were doing work, we didn't anticipate this at the time, but we do have some of the money in the capital reserve. So motion to award the bid to Rank Electric and a motion to amend the budget by $142,000 with funding coming from the water capital reserves.
Thank you, City Manager. Any questions, comments? Who would like to make this motion? Commissioner Bosmas-Rath.
Motion to award bid for automatic transfer switch upgrades to the water treatment facility to J Rank Electric Incorporated for an amount not to exceed $241,625.
Support?
Support.
It's been moved and supported. Any questions, comments? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passed unanimously. Commissioner Bosmas-Rath.
Motion to amend the budget by $142,000 with the funding to come from water capital reserves.
Support.
Has been moved and supported. Any questions or comments? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion also passed unanimously. Thank you. Under G, business items number 3, City Manager Chipman.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Up next for commission consideration is a request to award a bid for the DBW boiler replacement project. Kind of long story short on this one is we bid this out. We received 4 bids back. Excuse me. Goodness. Johnson Controls being the lowest bid on this one is our recommendation to award it to. We are also recommending a budget adjustment. I'm lost all night long. We are recommending a budget adjustment, thank you, from the Public Works Building Fund in the amount of $75,625,000. So, 2 motions, motion to increase the project budget and a motion to award the bid to Johnson Controls.
Thank you, City Manager. Any questions or comments, Commissioner Rubenstein?
This one's for City Manager Chapman, and just to clarify, the bid from Johnson Controls and Albert Heating and Cooling fell outside of the local competitive policy. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Thank you.
Okay. Any other questions, comments? Commissioner Talentino, you want to make this motion?
Sure, Your Honor. Motion to increase the project budget from $85,375 to $161,000 with the additional funding of $75,625 to come from the Public Works Building Fund.
Support.
F403.
Support.
It's been moved and supported. Any questions or comments? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passed unanimously. Commissioner Talentino.
Thank you, Your Honor. Motion to award the base bid to Johnson Controls, Inc. of Greenville, Wisconsin in the amount of $152,000.
Support.
Been moved and supported. Any questions, comments? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Both passed unanimously. Thank you. Are you ready for city manager announcements and updates?
Only because I've been talking so well
Cough drop
tonight.
working?
Of course.
All right. City manager.
All right, up first, Mr. Boyle, if you want to start heading up here, you can kind of comment on this a little bit. So we're super excited to announce that our Easter Day Avenue and Carbide Dock project has been recognized and has received an award from the American Council of Engineering,
Consulting engineering.
Consulting Engineering. Thank you. Yeah. C2AE, who was one of our project consultants on the project, nominated our project for the award. They went through the process, and we have been selected.
Yep.
Hence the very pretty, stylish trophy that we have on there. Mr. Boyle was able to go down to the event last Saturday, representing the city, and accept award on behalf of the city. So, any comments,
Yep.
Mr. Boyle?
Yeah, so there was 48 submittals for last year projects, which was pretty high just because all the construction that was going on. 27 awards. Our project was #1 in engineering merit category, so,
Awesome.
Hold
Yeah.
that trophy up.
yeah.
We won't have to build a very big case for it now.
Yeah,
Display it down at the Carbide, I guess, eh?
yeah. So there was only two UP projects, ours and Michigan Tech's STEM engineering building, which was in another category, so. So
Awesome.
we did
yeah.
pretty good for, and ever since I've come back, I've had to talk to a lot of press about our project, so. And we're getting some good kudos and things out there, so we still got a few things to do down there, so hopefully this will help us out a little bit in the future.
Congratulations. Good job to engineering
Thanks.
and administration.
Alrighty, so these notes are kind of funny because I wrote them last Thursday when the weather was nice, but, we are out and about addressing potholes because the snow was melting, the ice was off the roads. Staff is out filling them as we can. We're kind of focusing on trouble areas or the bigger ones. Just as a request, we mentioned this to the commission, just a comment to the citizenry here. If there are any potholes that need to be filled, we ask to, call customer service down at City Hall. You can find the number online. They'll put in the work order for us. With the guys being out in the field, we don't always have somebody there to take the phone call, so it'd be a lot quicker for their response if we could have people call in customer service, put the work orders in that way. We have plans to pull the banks in the downtown area. We were gonna start that yesterday, but we got a little bit of snow, and we'll see where the week kind of takes us, but we are working to get those banks pulled out of the downtown area. Winter facilities are closed right now, Canes, Sledding Hill, everything else. Looking forward, moving into kind of our spring activities. Just as a reminder, parks and campgrounds started opening up around May 15th. If the weather changes drastically here, we could probably get them open a little bit earlier, but May 15th is kind of our goal as we move forward every year. For those looking to camp at Ani Campground, the reservations are currently open, and they're pretty much booked up right now too. So I mean, that's been a huge asset for us. Fills up throughout the summer, and they're mostly booked up at this point right now too. So hop on there if you want to. Spring clean update, staff is working to organize our spring cleanup date. That's when commission comes out and volunteers and cleans up the city as well. We don't have a date on that, but we're looking at mid-May at this point. We do have numerous volunteers that are starting to come forward to help clean out the parks, kind of with our Adopt a Park program, and just some other groups of individuals that just want to kind of give back to the community. So a lot going on there. We are moving into our spring and summer work, so we have applications online for our summer seasonal positions. Anybody that's interested can fill out an application online, get you an interview, and hopefully get you hired here. So a lot of positions, we always need a lot of people. I guess we're pretty flexible with schedules too. We'd love it for you to work all week long, but we'll take what we can get sometimes, right, Tyler? All right. Budget schedule, coming up in the budget schedule. So staff and I are working on the budgets right now. We're in meetings all week long, kind of hammering that stuff out. The key dates for the commission, just to keep in the back of your minds, is April 21st, 22nd, and 23rd. April 21st is the second meeting of April for the commission. You'll receive my budget during that meeting. April 22nd is the first budget workshop, and then April 23rd is, if needed, another budget workshop. So 21st and the 22nd are kind of the key dates moving forward there. So, and with that,
Any questions for the city manager on his update, Commissioner Rubenstein?
I know you mentioned it at one point, some of the mechanical issues some of the vehicles have had in terms of snow removal and why there's been some delays at times. Can you, I guess, touch on that a little bit? Some of the trucks that are broken down or?
Tyler can probably do a better job, but as he's coming up, winter's been tough. I mean, we had a lot of snow. It's a very cold winter. We've had some breakdowns. Just last week, we finally got one of our last tandems back on the road.
Oh, it's back down.
It was back down now already, so. Tyler, this is your time to shine.
My time to shine. Budget meeting is Friday.
I remember.
We have 5 tandems that we use for snow removal, snow hauling. And, yeah, over the last 3 weeks, we only had 2 that were operational on the road. So last week, we had all 5 back up, but one of them is back in the shop right now. So to be able to pull downtown, it's really not efficient to do it with any less than 4 trucks. So that's why when we had good weather, we weren't pulling, that's why. So, It has been a tough winter. I've got 3 months left, and there's hopefully no more major breakdowns, so.
Thank you. Yeah, it's been a really hard winter, and DPW's done a great job keeping up as best as they could, and I felt like it would be good for everyone to hear some of the challenges they've had, because I know sometimes frustrations can boil over, and there's a reason why stuff is being done a certain way, so thank you.
Yep. And then just, I forgot to, there was a comment made a couple meetings ago about snow removal on the sidewalks. I'm still working on putting together a memo, and I'll have a memo for the commission at the next commission meeting, which would be the first meeting in April.
Perfect. And can you have Bonnie throw that picture up just
Let me pull it
for
back
the
up.
award? I just wanted to notate that on the, is that the nomination part of it, part of the photo? 2 of the 4 pictures are roundabouts on Easter Day, so. Engineers love them. Again, great job.
That award was sponsored by the Roundabout Association of
Yeah.
America.
Great job on the award. All right, moving into item I, which is matters presented by the public. I know we have one. Sorry to make you wait so long. If you think it's going to be a short meeting, it goes long.
Thank you guys so much for having me. My name is Katie Chipman Bergsma. I'm here on behalf of the League of Women Voters Eastern Upper Peninsula. We have been starting a monthly roundtable meeting where in March, on the first Tuesday of the month, we had the county commissioners come to have a roundtable discussion about the tariffs and how it's affecting our area. And it was a really great conversation where the public got to ask questions and just kind of discuss local issues. And so on April 1st, which is the first Tuesday of the month, no April Fool joke at all, at 6 p.m. at the Bayless Library, we cordially invite the city council to come and hopefully answer questions on local issues, but our theme will also include discussing how to foster safe and legal peaceful protests in Sault Ste. Marie. So we look forward to working with some of you. You've attended other events and worked with us in other events in the past. And so we did send an email out from our League of Women Voters email address to invite you, but I thought it would be a positive vibe to come in here and invite you in person. So we look forward to seeing you guys there. Thanks.
Thank you very much, Katie.
Can we also hang this flyer downstairs on the bulletin board?
Sure.
Yeah, thank you.
And anybody else in the audience that would like to make any comments at this time? So we'll move along into item J then, which is matters presented by the city commissioner. Commissioners have any comments this evening? Commissioner Rubenstein.
I just want to wish Laker men's basketball good luck. They're playing University of Missouri St. Louis in the Sweet 16 tomorrow night at 8 o'clock. So you can watch it for free through, I forget what, GLVC, whatever the conference of the host school that they're playing at. It's free to watch online. And Lake State's also going to be having a free watch party on campus as well with some pizza and stuff. So 8 p.m. tip, back-to-back years in the Sweet 16, so a great accomplishment.
Good luck to Lakers. Anybody else? Commissioner Bosbus-Rath.
Also, just piggybacking that, you can throw it up on your TV if you guys know how to do the AirPlay. So from your phone, if you get it on your phone, throw it up on your TV and you can watch it on the big screen on your TV. And also, happy 3rd birthday to my baby girl, Everly, in 2 hours and 20 minutes or so. She was born 3 years ago on St. Patrick's Day, so shout out to my baby girl.
Happy birthday to Everly.
Yeah.
Anybody else? Mr. Bauer.
Your Honor, I respectfully move that we adjourn this meeting.
Support.
Moved and supported. All in favor, say